Hi cuties. I don't know if y'all been reading the latest Game Informer magazine or perhaps turned the tube on to G4 and seen the latest brand new M-rated Nintendo published horror game. Yes, I said that correctly. Emio the Smiling Man is one of the very rare Nintendo published third-party M-rated video games, up there with the Bayonetta franchise, Devil's Third, Why Are You So Expensive Bitch, and the topic of today's Ripper review, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem. I'm glad Nintendo decided to drop the news of this because it finally gave me an actual reason to lock the fuck in and play Eternal Darkness. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I tried it a few years ago, but my brain was too smooth at the time. However, I gained a few wrinkles since then and emulated that hoe on my Steam Deck and I had a blast. Let me just go ahead and spoil it. This is the best GameCube game I've ever played, like no bullshit. Yes, I played Super Mario Sunshine, Wind Waker, Smash Bros. Melee, all that. This is the one, okay? I'll be the first to admit, I'm very biased to a unique horror game, but regardless, my opinion is the only one that matters anyway, so we will do a deep dive into what really makes this game so special, okay? But first, we gotta lay some foundation, because crazily enough, this was meant to be an N64 game. Let's look at this beta footage from E3 1999, y'all. Isn't this actually fucking crazy? This does not look like an N64 game, it looks fantastic. So, Silicon Knights were the team responsible for this incredible vidya game, and they actually helped co-develop the severely underrated Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. That whole ordeal definitely played a huge role in the concepts for this video game, but let's just cross that road when we get there, okay? Nintendo reached out to the developers after Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, which is also another incredible video game, and they basically said, hey, cook us up an original M-rated video game experience. And oh boy did they. Now, for all you cuties who literally don't know what the game is, let me explain the brief premise, okay? Essentially, you start off as this woman named Alex, and she gets a call from the police where they tell her that her grandpa, Paul, was brutally murdered, okay? And after a few weeks, they give up on the investigation because it was going nowhere. She eventually just decides to pull up to the mansion her damn self and investigate. She finds a book made out of human skin, naturally, and it's called The Tome of Eternal Darkness. Hey, that's the name of the game. Anyways, when she reads it, it has the power to transport her back in time to the beginning of the book's creation with a Roman soldier, Pius, who serves as the antagonist as well. Throughout each chapter of the game, you read another chapter of the book, and you play as several different characters with different weapons, movesets, and motivations. The narrative in Eternal Darkness is just so damn compelling, y'all. I went into it thinking it was basically just like a Resident Evil clone, down to the damn mansion setting, but it has such a vast array of unique areas like a damn Tomb Raider looking ass level, church. I mean, it really bounces all over the place. Some characters are weaker than others, narratively and physically, but what binds them all together is the magical abilities, something you really don't see in horror games all too often as well. I know Kuon, that like From Software horror game, use spells and shit, but it's even more unique in Eternal Darkness because it's up to you to find different runes and such to craft required spells that will help you heal, give yourself force fields, and fight off the sanity effects. Now you're probably thinking, hey yo, what sanity effects, Mr. Ripper? Okay, well hold on, let me do my video, bro, damn. Basically, this game is known for breaking the fourth wall constantly. There's a green bar, which is your sanity meter, and it's kind of similar to Amnesia, if y'all are familiar with that game, but in this one, it drains when enemies make eye contact with you. You can eventually regain it back once you do a damn Doom Eternal style glory kill on the bastards though, finishing them off. The game will really start to tweak the fuck out if it gets too low though, like it'll end your game and say, to be continued, and flash up a fake sequel, or pretend to delete your save data when you go to manually save. And it had to have been pretty effective back in 2002, bro, I'm not gonna lie. It's funny because using a modern monitor, I can obviously tell when they'd flash CRT TV effects and shit on my screen. I was like, really dog, come on, stop playing with me. But when I was playing it late at night on my Steam Deck, at one point they made it look like bugs were crawling all over my fucking screen and it actually scared the shit out of me, so it's still an effective premise in my eyes. Allegedly, Nintendo patented this sanity effect stuff, which makes sense because you never see shit like that in modern day video games at all. It is such a bummer that it will probably never be utilized again unless a sequel is produced by Nintendo. Anyways, besides all that sanity stuff, the game is essentially a hack and slash video game with some guns sprinkled in throughout. There's a really cool limb targeting system where you can chop a zombie's head off, leaving them blind, then their arms so that way they can't hit you anymore, and it is super fucking satisfying. It's still a great effective combat loop for a janky GameCube horror title, I'll be honest. You will fight some bosses here and there, which kinda sucks depending on your character, but if you're a badass like Kareem with dual Prince of Persia ass swords, it's no problem. I am reluctant to call this game a survival horror one though, as there's really no survival elements like hoarding ammo or inventory management, and the puzzles are not in the same vein of like a Silent Hill where you're combing through pages, utilizing the environmental storytelling elements and shit. It's really all about using your magic to enchant items or dispel magical fields for clues and shit, which is incredibly unique, I say again. Eternal Darkness also has slightly altered pathways depending on which magical rune you select in Chapter 1 as Pious, and that changes your entire playthrough, and ending even. It's small shit, but it's still a dope inclusion nonetheless. For a horror game, Eternal Darkness is somewhat on the longer side too. 12 different chapters with 12 characters took me ironically about 12 hours to complete. A whopping 10 hours more than the modern Resident Evil 3 remake. I will never forgive you for doing that to me on my fucking birthday, Capcom bitch! Nah, but seriously, this game's Lovecraftian undertones and narrative is absolutely incredible, coming from someone who isn't typically attracted to that type of shit. It's not like the freakiest game in the world or the tightest controlling, but as a whole package, it's absolutely Jack the Ripper's favorite GameCube game of all time now. So I must plug it in the certified Ripper ranking system at a correct 10 rips out of 10 rips. Yep, perfection. Silicon Knights head honcho Dennis Dyack has tried on multiple occasions to get a sequel or spiritual successor to this video game through failed Kickstarter campaigns and even trying to work with Nintendo directly to launch it maybe as a Wii U exclusive launch title, but none of it came to fruition. Don't know what that noise was, my fault. But anyways, Nintendo keeps re-upping their patent for the property, so maybe, just maybe, we will see its return one day in some capacity besides a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Easter egg, bitch. By the way, Eternal Darkness is super rare, and I would have played it natively on a GameCube or something, but yeah. As you can see, that shit gonna stay in my eBay cart for a while, cuties. Despite all the praises I just gave it, the game obviously didn't sell very well, around 500,000 copies or so. Maybe because the GameCube itself wasn't the most popular Nintendo console, or perhaps the kids that did have a GameCube couldn't get an M-rated game at GameStop because the employees be snitching to the parents. I think with the modern day horror game remakes and remasters, there's a bit of a renaissance happening, and I mean Nintendo themselves have been dropping remasters of the Fatal Frame series, so there's certainly a market for this game, as they really only need to give it a graphical touch-up. The cutscenes are directed like a damn movie, and I didn't even mention before, but the voice acting is absolutely top tier, especially for a horror game in 2002, bitch. All in all, this is an underrated ass classic that more people should know about, and Nintendo needs to give it another look in my correct Ripper opinion. What are y'all thinking though? Have you ever checked this bitch out? Cause like I said, it really didn't sell well, but critically, a lot of people have it high on their greatest horror game list, so tell me what you think about Eternal Darkness down below, please. I'ma shut the fuck up and stop yapping for you cuties though. Thanks for all the love on my last Dead Rising video. It's now my second highest viewed video on the channel. I love y'all. And I'm also about to hit 700 subs, so thank you so much for that as well. Each and every single one of you motherfuckers are getting a hug from me individually, I promise. But yeah, that's Eternal Darkness, my cuties. Drop a GameCube on the like button, perhaps a magical spell on the subscribe, and I love you guys.
Bye!